How are you all doing today? Shawomoa, good morning. Thank you for coming to my channel for another lesson. Today, as you can see, we are going to be looking at comparatives, specifically comparisons of inequality. What these are is when you are just making comparisons between two things, and one happens to be better in some sense, bigger, faster, smarter than another. Very, very simple. So there are two specific words primarily that we will be looking at. The first is uhunakwa, and the second is unakwa. Actually, these are the same, but as you can tell, if you're saying uhunakwa super fast, it comes across as unakwa. And it seems that in some dialects, that's all it is now. It's just unakwa. And you see there are three O's there. It's spelled with three O's. It's just because it's lengthened. It's unakwa, unakwa. Another one that can be used, and I'll see one example of this way toward the end of the video, is guayakwa. And each of these have the sense of more than. And that will make sense as we progress. Two others that we will look at is minakwa and tamihoi, both of which have the sense of less than. I only have like a couple examples of these way toward the end. So we will be focusing on the first ones I showed, uhunakwa or unakwa. So let's get right into the examples. First is kind of a long one. It's supaba yupuku, katud sikupuku, unakwa ununadzui. Means the big horse is stronger than the little horse. Something to keep in mind that when the two things being compared, the one that is greater, the one that is bigger, more than, or in this case, the one that's stronger, is always going to be found in the nominative case, or in other words, the subject. And if you recall from a previous video, that subject is identified by this article, su. Not always, but many times. Su, which is the nominative or subject article, can be translated the. Another identifier or another suffix that will help you identify the subject of the sentence is you, which can be found on adjectives. Both of these help you identify the subject of the sentence. So in this case, it's supabayu, the big horse, puku. So the one that's less than in some sense is going to be marked by the accusative or the object. Also another one which is called the genitive, but we're not looking at that right now. It's the object. How do you identify the object? In this case, it's the one that starts with this article ka. Also something I mentioned in a previous video, ka, which can also be translated the. Ku here, this suffix also helps you identify the object or the accusative. So ka tutsiku means the small, puku, horse. So you have two things here, the big horse and a small horse. Unakwa ununadzui is stronger than. So the big horse is stronger than the little horse. I hope that made sense. Usu naga unakwa yuhup. She or he is fatter than me. Again, usu, that's the object, or that's the subject. And that's identified by the su. So usu naga. You don't say usu ne unakwa yuhupa. Just like you don't say she is fatter than I, you say she is fatter than me. It changes form. In this case, ne becomes nera. Usu nera, me, unakwa yuhupa is fatter than. That's helpful because if you come across hearing something like this, nera unakwa tsunami. There's no subject in this sentence. It's implied. The she or he is implied here. It's she or he is smarter than me. Literally, it just says is smarter than me. And you have to supply who is smarter. And context always helps you to determine that. Ne no okohima unakwa supisha usupicha means I love you more than everything. Ne I no okohima. No kohima. That is the object form of all things. No oko, if it were the subject, it would be no yuna. And hima, if it were the subject, would just be he. But because these are the less than, in this case, it's no kohima. I love you more than no kohima, everything, all things. Ishunatsi tuna unakwa un. This boy is taller than his father. Literally, un means to stand. So it's like this boy stands more than his father. Ne umi unakwa you. I am bigger than you. So in this case, bigger isn't really there. It's also implicit. But uhunakwa you, when it has that you at the end of it, it's a predicate suffix. That's what you use when the comparative term, in this case bigger, when it's not there, when it's implicit. You always know it by context, but when you're not using that, then you take the uhunakwa and you add you. Uhunakwa you. I am bigger than you. Usu tami unakwa ununadzui. She or he is stronger than us. Ununadzui, very much stronger. Unakwa tami, than us. Ishuturapu maga unakwa ureyu. This rope is longer than that one. Ishuturapu, this rope. Unakwa ureyu, longer than maga, that one. Ishurapa, this bed. Ugasumu unakwapawayu, is bigger than that one. Unakwapawayu, bigger than ugasumu, that one. Usu naga unakwapijayu, she or he is better than me. Usu, she or he, unakwapijayu, is better than naga, me. Kai numu unakwapijana suyuwipana. Don't think you're better than people. In other words, don't be haughty or don't be prideful. So, kai unakwapishana suyuwipana. Don't think you're better than numu, people. Usu aba ikasumupuku unakwawatmu. This white horse gallops or runs faster than this horse, than this one. Usu'ava is this white horse or that white horse. Unakwawatmu gallops faster than ikasumupuku, than this one horse. Okay, here's the other term, kwayakwa, being used. It's ne manigitomo wa ukwayakwa. I am 5 years older than him or her. So ne, I. Manigitomo wa, 5 years. Kwayakwa, 5 years older. U, than him or her. And the other two terms now, tamihoi, which can mean late or later, but here it indicates less than. So masu manigitomo wa itamihoi means that one, masu, that one. Manigitomo wa is 5 years, itamihoi, younger than me. Similarly, umipia iminakwatomope. Your mother, umipia, minakwatomope, younger than me. Matnusapa. That is all. Hope that made sense. Again, just making comparisons of inequality. So, as always, if you want to really, really learn those and begin to actually speak them yourself, you just got to listen as often as you can to fluent speakers. Learn, ask them at your particular communities, your res, your dialects. Ask leaders, elders, and fluent speakers, how they would say these things, how they would make comparisons, and learn and begin to use them yourself. So until next time, have a good day, and Huniwa, see you later.